Members of the voluntary group that runs the Mariah Edgeworth Festival of the Arts and Movement, and we've had a lovely time yesterday. We had some Regency and Georgian dress workshop. This lady came and she kept trying clothes on and then showing us how people dressed, and then she'd take that bit off and then she'd start on another outfit, and she was fascinating. That was absolutely brilliant. Was anybody at that workshop? No, well, you missed it, so next time we're going to ask her next year. You have to come. Even if you're not really interested, she's still so fascinating. She's lovely, isn't she? Yeah. Right, so, and we had some art exhibition up in the town, and lovely local artists displaying their work up in Co-Works, which is up in the town there. So, but coming on to today we've had workshops, storytelling, short story workshop, and a poetry workshop. And the poetry workshop lady is Lani O'Hanlon. She's here this evening. And we have the short story workshop lady is Trina Walsh. She's here this evening. And they'll be coming up here to chat to you a little bit about the competition that we ran for the short story and the poetry. Okay, so then we have Andrea Mara, who's here, and Charlie McGettigan. They're going to be in conversation. That starts at around 9 o'clock after we've had a short break. So we'll have an initial time together, have a short break, an interval, and then we start with the conversations event. Okay, right, so I'm just going to let you know that I've got to mention the sponsors who've helped us so much with all the financial side of running the festival. So I've got to mention them. So here we go. Elaine's laughing at me out there. She helped me with the list. Right, so we've got Longford Tourism, Creative Ireland, the Department of Tourism, Culture, Arts, the Gaeltacht and Sport and Media, Project Ireland, Longford Community Resources, CLG, Longford County Council, Longford Local Community Development Committee, and the Railway Lodge, the B&B, where some of our visitors are staying. They very kindly sponsored us as well for one of our events. C&D Foods, which is a big factory up the way there for I think it's animal foods, you know, for pets, dogs and cats and things. Yep. Paul and Vincent, which is another big business up here in Edgeworth. The North Midlands Credit Union, and that concludes my list of sponsors. Right, so I'll be testing you afterwards. Anyway, the health and safety aspect, we just let you know, the way you came in is the way you'd probably go out, you know, if there's anything that happens. And the bathrooms are out that door as well, and you go just along that corridor, and they're on the left. Okay? Brilliant. Right, and we had music just to be coming in from Eimear Reynolds there. It was lovely, Eimear, thank you. And her brother Andrew, which was very nice time too, Eimear. Thank you. So, right, on to my next yellow slip of paper. Right, I'm going to chat to you now about Lani O'Hanlon, who is the lady who's come to this evening to let you know her results for the poetry competition. And Lani comes from Ardmore, between Waterford and Cork. Yeah, I was chatting to her over this afternoon. I thought I'd have to ask her where she's from exactly. Anyway, so that's where it is, at Ardmore. And you're a writer and a therapist, aren't you, Lani? So she uses the somatic movement as a therapy, which is a very interesting thing. She was explaining to me about getting the body to the person who's in their own body to look inside, to connect with themselves, and to just slow down and everything. And she gets people who are in her care to write something, and then she does some somatic therapy on them, and then they write something else, and they're so blown away by the difference in the two types of writing. Very interesting process. She was telling me about that. So she's been in the Irish Times and the RTE Sunday Miscellany. Yeah. She's the Poetry Ireland Troker Award winner, Bloomsday Award winner, and she works as a coach in palliative care, mental health and well-being with Waterford Healing Arts. Did I get that right? Good. I'm thrilled. But she said to me, don't forget now, Elizabeth, to mention, I know she wasn't that draconian, the Gregory O'Donoghue Award, which is from West Cork, Cork City, and you're going to be reading your winning.
No.
No, what are you doing next Saturday?
Oh, then I will.
You will be, yeah, not tonight. Yeah, sorry, Lani. No. You're grand. I'm somatically.
I'm not.
Well, hard luck. I don't care. So, anyway, next Saturday you're going to be reading it, are you? That's great. Sure, yeah, that'd be nice. Fantastic. And have a lovely time. And well done. Yeah, well done. Now, so in the competition for the poetry, we had 430 people sending in poems. I mean, I was sweating because I was going to face 430 poems to mark, and I was a teacher, and I know what it's like when you're marking. So well done, Lani. So it was one person from Canada, Okotoks in Canada, who sent in a poem, and there was somebody from, other people from Ireland, County Clare, Waterford, Galway, and all over the place. I don't know any other original place where they were. But yeah, it was very popular, wasn't it? So would you like to come up then, Lani, and you can have your time in front of the mic.
Hi everyone, I sound like a really calm person, but I have a piece coming out on Sunday Miscellany called Stage Fright, which is another side of me. But it's such a beautiful festival. We've had a lovely time, very relaxed, very good vibe here, and everybody's made very welcome, so it's much easier to relax. So my job was to judge the poetry competition, which is quite a difficult job. But when in fact, the poems just actually sort of float up to the top eventually, but it's those top ones that's very hard to say which one you're going to place. So in these top poems, I knew I was in the hands of really good poets, and the poems were excellent. So I'm going to talk about the highly commended poem, and that's Paul Edmondson, who has come, and his poem is Featherlight. And I actually know Paul. Of course, it was anonymous, so I was really surprised to see that I knew some of the people, and Paul is actually from Waterford. It's so sad, but I was amazed. And there's beautiful lines in this poem, like it's about a greenfinch. I lift him light as a sigh. And another line, the whisper of bone and feather. And the poem was so detailed, such a beautiful, tender study of a bird as it dies, and really jumped out at me. So Paul is here and he's going to come and read his poem for us.
Okay, thank you, Lani. Thank you for that lovely introduction. It's called Featherlight. Tucked in the window's elbow, a small, soft form, spring green and gold, wings folded, waiting, a breath between worlds. I lift him, light as a sigh. His body settles into my palm, a whisper of bone and feather. No struggle, no pulse of panic, just a hush of trust. I lay Greenfinch down on the dog's red towel. His head slips beneath a wing, as if the world no longer pulls. His coal black eyes close, sleep is all. Lost my place. His coal black eyes close, sleep is all. Minutes stretch, an hour, two. I touch his side, stroke his head. No stir, no shift of breath, only peace. I resettled him into the dog's soft grooves, the towel's soft grooves. He lingers a while more, until the last breath escapes. Beneath the beach, I give him back. No grave, just air and earth. He will return. All things do give him time, feather-light and free. Thank you.
He's a hard-working poet, I know. Yeah, all these winners are very hard-working poets. You can tell by the language and years working. So, where am I now? In third place, Keeping Time by Morris Kerr. And this is a fabulous poem, just full of musicality and the muscularity of the language and the rhythm, fabulous rhythm. It begins, my father's made of fragments, and there's a wonderful piece in it. And when he turned my bike up on handlebars and saddle, 2 wheels raised like an old projector, and the pedal cranked to get one spinning. I loved the tick of the upturned wheel, the chain stretched like film between 2 reels. I mean, to turn that bike into a projector was just such a leap. Fabulous poem, and Morris is here, I think, is he? There you are. Great.
Okay. I'm over from London, and we've had a fantastic day here with some of my family. So thanks to the organisers and the organisers of the festival. Thanks very much to Lani. And it's especially nice to read my poem because it's about my father, and it would be his birthday in May. So you know, it's a nice timing. Keeping time. My father's made of fragments, handles, catches, a scatter of screws, padlocks with keys that might turn up, things he'd never considered bric-a-brac, and a harmonica he gave me once. At the armchair ends of the day, his lips remembered a tune for it, absently slip-jigging, a foot-tapping rhythm. And when he turned my bike up on handlebars and saddle, 2 wheels raised like an old projector, and the pedal cranked to get one spinning. I loved the tick of the upturned wheel, the chain stretched like film between 2 reels, the clicking pulse and strict exactitude with which it marked each revolution, freewheeling down in rallentando. I gazed at him through rushing spokes, a flickering screen that slipped the infinite gaps between the stills. He loved old clocks, their lugubrious tick. He'd wind alarms, you'd hear the ratchet, the tinny spring stepping its way through darkness till the brightening ring. A watch he'd hold to my ear, for the soundness of its whispering heart. That'll keep good time, he'd say, then strap it to my wrist. His firmness wrapped around my pulse, winding him back to a country kitchen, and the pause he heard between the strokes, steady as a sacred heart.
Fabulous poem, huh? So we don't have the winner here now of the second place, which is Moss Gathering. And this is an amazing poem. You know, it's such a sensual poem and really embodied, you know, what you were talking about being embodied. You really enter the body of this woman who's gathering moss. And I did a little note about what that was. They gathered moss and used it to dress wounds. So this poem won because, first of all, the research, and secondly, because you really were in the body of this woman and her struggle as she collected the moss. So just a little bit, the Marchioness of Waterford, Waterford again, opened a moss collection depot in September 1915, and by March 1916, 160 women collected moss full-time in Ireland alone. Though the vast majority of moss collectors were women and children, contemporary reports on moss collection tended to highlight the few men aiding the war effort in this manner, because the surgeon, Charles Walker Coppard, began to promote the use of moss as a replacement for a dwindling supply of wound dressing of cotton fibres. Such a lovely thing, because moss, when you look at it, it does feel very healing, and just the idea, you put it on the wounds. So our prize winner isn't here. She's from Canada, Alberta, and so I'm going to read her poem. I'm just looking for her name. It's quite a long name. I want to get it right. No, I have it here somewhere. So she's Erin Emily Ann Vance, and she's from Alberta in Canada, and this is her poem, second place. The papers call this moss humble and take photographs of the men doing their bit. I assure you, there's nothing humble about the packing of wounds. Mondays and Tuesdays are spent knee-deep on the moor, filling sack after sack with ivory, green and gold. We tie our babies to our backs. They sleep or wail in their woolen cocoons. The cracked leather of my boots lets in the damp. My flask of tea grows cold. The men move faster. No babes to weigh them down. No skirts to tangle in the bracken. Wednesdays we spread and turn our bounties on the prison lawn. The wet moss passes through my fingers like rosary beads, each bundle a silent prayer. When it is dry enough to leave scratches on the baby's cheeks, I leave her with mother and don my white dress, trade the scent of dirt for antiseptic, the cold for the sting of unexpected heat. This is the most tedious task, sifting through the soft masses. We pluck twigs, the crisp bodies of tiny creatures, shards of grass, and the thousand other fragments from the heat, until we have something pure, clean, innocent enough. Hold on, there's more. Innocent enough to send into battle. Each night I read my daughter bits of her father's letters. She gums the metal of St. George around my neck. Her chubby hands maul at the onion skin paper. Each night I dream of turf cutters, of stumbling upon something ancient and delicious in the peat, like a golden bangle or a minute skull. That's her poem. And in first place, we have a poem, Parallel, by Niamh Toomey. And this poem, from the very beginning, the first words, she had me, you know, and she was true to the child's viewpoint all the way through. There's not a wasted word in the poem, and the way it's positioned on the paper as well is fabulous. And it's called Parallels, and here's this grandfather and this child And this child sees the distance between them, that he's lived this life and she's living this life, and she can't cross over. She looks at him in great wonder. And Niamh, you were so true to that voice, to that child and her vision. And then there's a moment at the end where the child crosses over. They're like two parallel lines, and then she crosses into his. And it just takes me like a thump in the heart. It's fabulous writing, and Niamh is here to read her poem.
Thank you. I'm getting emotional about my own poem just hearing you talk about it. Thank you so much. Thank you, Lani, and all the festival organisers. It's been such a lovely weekend. This is in 4 parts, just in case you clap after the third. Parallel. 1. In the shed, enough crooked nails to pin up the night sky. Saws sway like chimes from the rafters. Grandad hunts the scrap pile for the right cut of wood. From his armchair in the evenings, he keeps an eye on the fire, feeds it blocks, worn-out bedposts to keep the winter out. When the Angelus rings, rosary beads rope round his hands. Behind his closed eyes, a world I can never imagine. 2. He is carving a ladder for my dolls with odds and ends from the firebox. Its 2 stringers are the length of my arms. Its 2 stringers are parallel. I learned that word. It means they're standing right beside each other, and even if they go on forever, they will never touch. 3. He's too weak to walk to the bosun, so we sit in the car facing Cove over the water. Between us, a bag of chips and 60 years. I unpack greasy paper. He tells me he built the shipyard across the harbour. I'm trying to picture it now, trying to meet him there. The man with his sleeves rolled up, dust wearing thin, the knees of his work pants as he hauls the future onto a trailer. 4. Perched on the sawhorse, I watch him at work, ask for a turn. He stays near, his giant's hands shepherd mine, hold me steady as I dance the saw across the pencil line he's drawn. Thank you so much.
And Niamh has a lovely journal called Hive, which is all about the natural world. So if any of you have poems for that, you can send it when she's looking for it next. So I'm going to read 2 of my poems, and thank you for asking me to. This is my collection, Landscape of the Body, from Deadlands Press. I was exploring the Maria Edgeworth Centre and looking at the writings up on the wall, her writings, and one of the things she has is women were considered as creatures of emotion, not reason. And her struggle to write then as a woman, and I would have had a similar struggle but with a different kind of background. So I'm going to read 2 poems. And this one is from the collection Salmon Are Standing. The young warrior Fionn didn't mean to steal knowledge. He just burst the blister on the scale of a mythical salmon roasting over the fire, sucked his thumb, and knowledge entered him. More warriors. Setanta, Brian Baroon, Sarsfield, Red Hugh, Hugh Dove, Wolf Tone, Robert Emmett, Daniel O'Connell, Parnell, Father Murphy, Padraig Pearse, Michael Collins, De Valera. Cowboys as well, shooting at ceilings, yelling, "Yee-haw!" Standing in dusty streets, arms akimbo, right hand near the holster, ready to draw. I did not want to be a saloon girl in a flounced red petticoat, followed by a bandy-legged cowboy up the wooden stairs to bed. Better to be flagellated in mutiny on the Bounty. Better to be a warrior than a fish. Because the salmon of knowledge on Rodon Fassa was Sive, and the sacred pool where she swam, and the hazel tree shedding nuts and leaves into the pool. She could be a salmon, a deer, Bridget, Gudnut, or Leah, and Bovama, who shared their plant wisdom with Fionn. In all my years in school, I never once heard the word goddess, Greek or Irish, until I found the versions collected door to door by Ella Young. Before the salmon leave salt water for sweet, they pause. The salmon are standing, the fishermen say. When the warriors dived naked into the pool, we could not follow. We had to go there at night, bring herbs and wildflowers, St. John's wort for depression, sage for heavy bleeding, hot flushes, raspberry leaf for labour, rock rose for terror, buttercup for loss, walnut for change, centauri for a strong will, larch to find a voice, self-heal. And we brought the children with us, chanting, breathe, breathe, breathe. We stood, and we stood, and then we left. And I'm staying with the salmon. This last poem is to thank you all for inviting me and for the beautiful festival. I really appreciate it. So it's, in honour of all the work you do to get a festival started. We have people coming in. Here, seats here. Welcome. You're welcome. Okay, net. Texts, emails, phone calls, tweets, crisscross frequencies. All year you made your net in the air above the town. Against the current they came. Bards, poets, storytellers of all kinds. Meeting, separating, meeting again. Children chalk their myths under our feet. There's talk of vision quests, Sive's many shapes, and Fionn, the secrets he learnt from the poet Finnegas. Fire of song, light of knowledge, art of extempore recitation. We sang an Aboriginal song to the rocks and the lakes, dived into the pool, sacred hazels, gold and silver scales, our finned throats, our tails. Wasn't that lovely, listening to all those lovely poems? Very creative people here this evening. I think all of you are creative, but we just have a smattering of some people who've shown their creativity today, this evening. So thanks very much, Lani. Are you all right now? Good, good. We're just going to have a short musical interlude again,
And over here is Eimear. He's sitting there beside her brother Andrew. And what are you going to sing?
We're going to do 2 Irish pieces. We're going to do Red is the Rose and She Moved Through the Fair.
Grand, thanks very much.